Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have in front of us with another sound test. I keep doing these recordings and then I keep readjusting all of my setup and everything because nothing is perfect yet. And I'm so annoyed because the last time that I recorded was like a non-stop 10-minute video talking about all of the intricacies of it, like all the keyboards and keyboard history and everything like that already. And suddenly I realized that I didn't have my microphone on, the most important aspect of recording a video. And so here I am. I think we're on like a fourth or fifth try already. But hopefully things are looking very well. I see my audio level rising up and down, which is good because I did see that last time and I was like, why am I talking and like nothing is happening? But yeah, anyway, we have in front of us a GTune G693b. Actually, no, it's a GTune G893b, I believe. Let me just triple check this. I do not believe that I could find that. That is not the keyboard. It's called a GTune GK893b. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It is the reason why I struggle a lot with just talking about the keyboard is because I don't know too much about the history of this keyboard specifically because it's made by a Korean manufacturer that is still very much unknown to the Western market. And I obtained this from a clearance sale of a storage space, of an office space of a department of my university. So it was a very good find. The person that sold this to me for very cheap was moving back to Korea after finishing their masters. So best of luck to them on their journey. I am very happy with what you passed down to me. I will certainly make good use of it, and thank you for entrusting me with this keyboard because it makes for a very cool part of history. This keyboard I'm going to talk about this as my first and only interaction and hands-on experience with an electrocapacitive switch keyboard, aka most of you would have known it by the name of Topre. But Topre is one of the most popular electrocapacitive switch manufacturers, but it doesn't mean that they're the only one. So here's a prime example. I don't know if we should call this a clone, because I don't know if it qualifies as a clone because electrocapacitive switches aren't. As far as I know, they were patented by Topre for a bit, and then the patent expired or something like that. I'm not too sure about the detailed history of it because I haven't done a lot of research in that field. I know a lot more about the MX switch and the history of that MX switch design and how that patent expiration led to this whole host of keyboard switches from so many different manufacturers of that same blueprint, as you can see over there with that whole stack of just switches that I've been able to collect. And there are a couple more down in that drawer space over there. And yeah, because I know a lot more about that field because I grew up within that field. That's what brought me into the hobby. The aspect of the history of switches, switches play a lot, play a significant role in shaping the sound, the feel, the history of the mechanical keyboard, or shall I say more so the custom mechanical keyboard scene as it grows ever since, I guess, 2007, 2008, when the on the desk community in Korea started like popularizing custom mechanical keyboards, or people might know them by the name OTD at this point. But yeah, I was very excited to test out this keyboard. Was like one of my first hands-on experiences with an electrocapacitive switch, and I would say like I am convinced now. I'm convinced in the world of Topre, and it's a very different experience from the MX switch, and I think like in terms of like silence, silencing capabilities, or I guess the bastardized like characteristic of the word thock, like I would just, if you want like thock per se, if you want the most thock, I would say go for an electrocapacitive keyboard or an electrocapacitive switch, because this design, the design of the switch, makes for a very resonant and very deep, low-pitched sounding switch, and paired with this combination of a very like cheap plastic molded keyboard chassis, I should say, makes for a very like low-pitched and low-toned sounding keyboard. And I know a lot of people in the custom world may hate on plastic. I don't know why my camera just like shut down for a little bit there, but we're still rolling, I guess. I know a lot of people in the custom keyboard scene would hate on plastic, as we've already established, as a lot of the other influencers have already established. Plastic doesn't make for a very like expensive feel or very like premium quality feel. If you hold like a plastic phone, or as opposed to an aluminum or like any like metal made phone, you will feel the like quality behind it. You will feel the quality of that material and that whole unit. So usually in the custom world, people would make keyboards out of like at least the like middle to upper range category. People would make keyboards out of aluminum and pair them with like brass weights, and like along those lines, because it makes for a very premium feel. First of all, like not touching on the sound yet, but now I'm gonna go into the sound. The sound, I would personally like the sound of an aluminum chassis, an aluminum keyboard, because metals resonate frequencies a lot. Like metals resonate higher frequencies a lot better, and it makes for a very sing-songy kind of like sound, because the resonant the resonance of the sound is very like, it sounds very nice, at least to me, for my personal preferences. Is more resonant than a plastic chassis, because plastic tends to just dampen sound in my experience, and that's why this makes for a very like low pitched sound, even more so paired with a lower pitched design like switch, like the electrocapacitive style switch. Yeah, but I guess like the chassis design rant is also for another time. These keycaps aren't the original keycaps that came with the keyboard. The original keycaps that came with the keyboard were, to me, kind of like hideous, not gonna lie, because it was like designed in sort of like a gamery style like font. If you guys have seen like the Razer or the Corsair keyboards, it's like that kind of font and that kind of design language, and like with like RGB shine through, and like this board doesn't even have RGB, like per key RGB. It just has cutouts for like RGB shine through for each of the letters. And the letters are like, the gamery letters are like probably the bane of my existence because they're so ugly, at least to me. And yeah, they were also white. They were white on clear, so clear on white. So the shine through elements of the letterings were on like a white background, a white like covering of the a white dye sublimated, I think very thinly made polycarbonate ABS plastic. So I was like, okay, no, there's no way that I'm gonna like daily something that has this like ugly of a font, or this ugly of a set of keycaps. So it just like I threw them in the storage. I still have them if anyone's like interested in like seeing them again for some reason. I like this keycap set. This is a PBT clone of the GMK Analog Dreams keycap set. GMK Analog Dreams is like super cool to me. It has a very unique color palette. This I particularly vibe with this like teal Tiffany blue turquoise type like color, and like paired with like a little bit of a beige. Beige gives like a little bit of a like vintage feeling to it, and so I like it. I like this like color pairing. This keycap set is also made of PBT instead of my usual preference of ABS, but paired with this whole setup with, as I said, a very low pitch sounding switch in a very low pitch sounding chassis. This is made of PBT instead of ABS. PBT tends to have a deeper sound signature. It doesn't resonate, it doesn't pop as much as the regular ABS that people would like typically associate with like GMK, or even like laser bladed ABS of like Corsair or Razer or Ducky or whatever that you've already been used to. It makes for a deeper sound, but it doesn't have as lively of a sound. So usually I would gravitate more towards ABS personally, because I like the liveliness, I like the clackiness of ABS. If ABS is made well, instead of well meaning like properly, what is it called? Properly dye sublimated and properly double shotted or triple shotted like GMK, or and with like the typical like 1.6 millimeter thickness that people associated with those kinds of keycaps, it makes for a very quality like sound. It makes for a very lively sound that I would like really enjoy out of my keyboard. And I know it's not like to everyone's taste. Most of the people who have dipped their toes for a couple of months into the hobby would usually gravitate more towards PBT because A, it's more durable. These keycaps are heavier, thicker. They're less subjected to shine. Shine is when like first of all, the oil and grease from your fingertips. Second of all, the wear of your fingers scratching up the your fingertips wearing off the like texture of the material of the top of the keycaps. It'll give like a shiny look to them. that looks very like nasty. So people would usually gravitate more towards these PBT keycaps, so it doesn't get subjected to that much of a level of shine. But if it did, it would have been like, it would have taken a lot more time significantly for PBT as opposed to ABS, which shines in a matter of a couple of months if you daily a keyboard. So yeah, anyway, that's another rant for another day. I guess that's about it. These are just like various like just toy artisans that a lot of my like friends and the people I know in the hobby just like gifted to me, because like these are, I think so, this alligator and this Sirius this Sirius dog keycap is like a clone of, I think particularly this guy is a clone of the Vietnamese studio Art Key, who also makes artisan keycaps. But these are not, like, at least these ones that I have on my keyboard are not commercially for sale. So like it's just people experimenting with different, like they reverse engineered a mold and they just like painted these, they cast these out of epoxy resin. They just like painted these themselves just for the pure like fun of it. And so they gifted one of the like defect ones to me. So I was like, why not? I'm just gonna have these on my keyboard for fun. It doesn't hurt anyone. I know people are gonna roast me for having like a lot of these like clones on my keyboard, like the PBT, the GMK Analog Dreams clone, and all of these like artisans. Well, these two artisans specifically, and the fake Limo cable that I have here. But I'm gonna tell them I am broke. I'm a broke. I'm a broke student, and I'm growing in this hobby as well. I'm just a broke research student, and I don't have a lot of like money to be able to invest into these hobbies. I know as I go on, I'm gonna support these makers and these studios a lot more by buying, like, you know, $200 GMKs or like $200 singular keycaps. But at this point, admittedly, not everyone, especially not everyone, has that kind of money for that kind of investment. It's a more like higher tier investment. It's a very niche investment at that too. So I'm gonna enjoy what I have right now, and this is my setup, and I'm very proud of it. I'm very happy about it. So yeah, let's get to the sound test and not let me just babble on about like this a lot longer. So yeah, this is the GTune GK893b from Korea. PBT Analog Dreams. Silenced electrocapacitive switches by GTune. They're more, I would say they're deeper, and they're more there's a more like creamy sound compared to like a Topre that I've heard in meetups. So I'm more than happy about this the switch. Anyway, let's get to the sound test. The typical usual mouse sound at keyboard level, so you guys can understand what we're dealing with. In 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, that would be about it. Hopefully you guys can tell the lower pitchedness of the sound that resonates from this whole like configuration, and I'm very happy about how that turned out. But yeah, hopefully it translates pretty well into video. I the spacebar stab is still not very neat. I still need to tune that a little bit more, but because I just haven't had the time to like properly tune the stabs yet. These ones are fine, I would think, but the spacebar needs a little bit more work because I've just been using the spacebar to death, and I think this is not wholly moddable just because of the design of the like pre-made stabilizer that the GTune branded stabilizers that they included. I don't think I can replace these stabilizers specifically because their cutouts are very specific to their keyboard. But I'll make do with what I have. I'll put a little bit of dielectric grease in each of the sides for a little bit, and yeah, I lubed these electrocapacitive switches with Krytox GHV4 on the sliders, none on the stem, by the way, because I want it to still retain a lot of the a little bit of that like texture, a little bit of that creaminess, I guess, like creaminess of the switch, and I think I've done a really good job. Everything sounds very good. At first, as the keyboard came stock, the springs were very, very pingy, and these springs, like, if you guys know anything about Topre-style electrocapacitive style switches, the springs are like the main portion of the Topre switch, of an electrocapacitive switch, because that's what like makes the switch actuate on the that's what actuates the switch, like on the chat, like on the PCB itself. So I was very skeptical about lubing the springs themselves, because I don't know if I'm gonna like mess anything up, and I don't know if I'm gonna like make some switch just like not actuate or something like that. But it was fine. I looked at a couple of the comments and all of the posts, and people are saying it's like people lube springs all the time for electrocapacitives, and so I bag lubed. I put all of them in a plastic bag and just like dropped a little bit of Krytox 106, I believe was what I used. Krytox GPL 106, and just shook it up for about like 2 or 3 minutes. And so it every spring here has an even coat. As you guys can hear, no particular spring ping as I listen to this in real life either. So I'm very happy about how this turned out. The feel is very smooth. Because of the design of the spring of the electrocapacitive switch, the spring has a more like quote unquote complex feel to them, like I would say like progressive feel, because the force that is required from your fingers as it goes down increases just by a hair, because the spring of an electrocapacitive switch is like in a cone shape instead of the cylindrical shape that we would typically associate with like an MX style switch. And so yeah, it was a very interesting experience working with modding and like refining this keyboard, and I'm very happy about how it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. I'm gonna potentially make either a live stream or a video of me trying to unsilence this keyboard just for the heck of it, just to see how it sounds, just to see how an electrocapacitive unsilenced switch sounds like. But that probably would be another project for another day, and I will see if or when I have time to make that kind of video or that kind of live stream. But that will probably be like at a much later date, because I still got a lot of like stuff that I need to like sort out first of all before I dive into any of this. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy that sound test, and yeah, we will catch each other at some point later on for more content, hopefully. I don't advertise this content anywhere else, so I would really appreciate it if you guys could like support me by just like, you know, liking the video down there and just like subscribe, because I'm trying to grow like just organically. Hopefully you guys found me on suggested, and hopefully you guys found this format and found this content informative in one way or another in your keyboard journey. And I'm very happy to just share this very niche hobby with you guys, and hopefully see you guys soon in more content.